Hello guys, what's up everyone? In today's video we're going to cover the Lyft bear case. Those of you who follow my channel, it's a pretty new one, so I will very love you like the video. If you like it, of course, it means the world to me. So yes, let's go. Um, Lyft bear case. I think Lyft is in a great position before we call the bear case to enjoy a huge total addressable market and long road ahead for growth. But it's trading such a ridiculous valuation currently because of two main reasons that we're going to cover in this video. Um, I'm I think that in the next 2 or 3 quarters, um, Lyft stock gonna explode dramatically because it have a great setup. But let's talk in this video about the Lyft bear case and let's debunk it. Okay, so let's start. So first case to argue that um, Lyft company is going to not succeed is a competition from its bigger brother Uber. And so, eh, although it's a valid case to be made, since Uber is much more dominant, I think most people um, familiar with Uber before they're familiar with Lyft. Also, since its operation are internationally, and its brand name is stronger, obviously. But who is the second player after Uber? It's Lyft. Who is the third player? There is, but I'm sure you don't know who they are, or maybe you know, but the moral of the story is Lyft and Uber are the dominant two player in the US. Um, although Lyft market share is much smaller, it's still very big. I think Uber marketplace is like 70 something percent and Lyft is 20 something. So 3-1, but still together they are duopoly in this business. And let's say that Uber is indeed stealing market share from Lyft. How it's doing it? By um, providing, let's say, one option is providing lower cost rides. Okay, if that is the case, if that is the case to be argued to be claimed, so Lyft needs to lower its prices as well. So which gonna struggle with profitability and with revenue growth. And is that is the case? Let's look at some numbers from Lyft financial statement. We can see here in the Seeking Alpha, it doesn't matter, you can choose whatever site or data provider you would like. But let's look at the income statement for Lyft. And let's look, for example, let's start with looking on the year-over-year growth. So obviously, they had their explosive growth 2017, 2018, but since then, um, yeah, the revenue growth is moderated, but obviously there is no companies that can grow 200% in the long run as they get bigger and bigger. I think as we see here, we see like 2021, 35%, 2022, 27, 2023, 7.5%. It's until this year, it looks like it's really decelerated, right? But in 2024, what happens? Whoa, we jump back up to 31%. And 2025, currently in the 12 trailing months, 20%. So Lyft is growing pretty fast, I would argue. So they are growing. And if so maybe you can tell me, okay, they're growing, but they're uh, their profitability is lower because their margin has shrinked. So let's look at their margins. So if we look at the gross profit margin, what we see here is a very beautiful picture of margins only go up. Obviously, there was 2021 with 34, and then it's went down a bit, but they are still keeping 30, mid 30s gross profit margins. And if we look at, let's look now at the operating margins, it's also improving dramatically and becoming profitable on the an operating income. And we look at all the expenses. Let's look at selling general and admin expenses. Margins of expenses going down. R&D expenses going down. And so we see that expenses going down, margins of gross margins stayed stable, operating income margins is increasing, and let's look at cash flows. If we look at cash flows, cash flows going up. It's still from 2024, they become profitable, and currently they are growing. If we look at by quarterly, we can look at 12 trailing months quarterly. It will paint a much brighter picture. We can look at the graph here, growing, growing, and growing. We can look at the numbers, growing, very beautiful. So profitability also growing. So I would argue the case of Uber's eating Lyft lunch is not very accurate. They're operating in huge total addressable market, which it's very unpenetrated. Obviously, if we look at New York or main cities or big cities, you can argue that okay, this market is highly penetrated, but for other areas, other countries, no. So yeah, I don't think it doesn't look like from the numbers and the data. And when we analyze companies, we should always look at data and numbers. Doesn't look like competition is beating Lyft, or the opposite. Looks like Lyft is thriving in this environment. Um, Also, if we look, I want to show you also from the last earning presentation, we look at every metric of the company is hitting all-time highs, number of active riders hitting all-time highs, number of rides hitting all-time highs, gross booking hitting all-time highs, EBITDA margin hitting all-time highs, um, free cash flows are increasing dramatically. It's a beautiful chart here, so become much more profitable. And so every metric of the company is increasing. Um, so yeah, let's continue on to the second reason why the bears are thinking Lyft is going down, but they are wrong. And this reason is robotaxis are coming. I'm sure everyone saw the news of robotaxis, Waymo, a Google company that started operating and expanding very rapidly in the US. Tesla started operating their cars, their robotaxis. So what do you think? Obviously, autonomous vehicles are the future. No one argue on that, but will it replace drivers like no human drivers, or will it hurt Lyft? Let's break it down. So robotaxis will take market share from riders, ride apps. So for that to happen, they need to take rides from Lyft. How they will do it? They need people, obviously, to connect their apps and use them. So, but people are habitual creatures. When you use something and you love it, you're not very fast going to detach it and go to somewhere else. So, it, the point here is I want to talk about network effects. network effect, saying that the more users you have on your service, let's say the app, and Lyft marketplace contains two type of customers, which is the riders and the drivers. So let's say the more drivers you have on your app, or the more riders you have, the more demand for drivers you have, which attract more drivers, right? Um, the opposite way is also true. The more drivers you have, the more the more availability of rides you have. So, meaning the faster arrival times and so on. Um, so let's say Waymo and Tesla have their own app, which they have. So it's not only, enough to build your app. You need to create um, a good marketplace, how you deploy all the cars to meet all the demand, how you gonna manage pricing, because it's very difficult, to build an algorithm that will determine pricing of rush hours, peak hours, bottom hours, and stuff like this. Also, app is not enough. Um, and this takes me to the next bullet, which is we have 5 stages of autonomy overall. So stage number one is only you have a driver. Step number two, which is we had a long time cars like that. I think Mobileye had a system of crash detection or such emergency braking that helps you. We have the partially automated, which is lane control. You click on a button and the car drive in the same lane. Number four is highly automated. You can you can remove your hands from the wheel, but the driver must be in the vehicle, which is the where all the companies currently are at stage 4. Nobody reached to stage 5. And why it's important? Stage 5 is fully automated, no need for a driver. So why it's important? Because it's have a lot of limitations on what type of rides you can do. Let's say, for example, um, there is probably places that autonomous vehicle cannot drive. Let's say airport, or maybe some difficult road, or difficult extreme weathers like fog or heavy rain. I think autonomous vehicles cannot operate in such conditions, and people must take rides. So um, probably human drivers are not disappearing. Um, so also, when you have autonomous vehicle, nobody is driving the car. So when you go to the airport, you have a heavy bags. Currently, who will lift your bags to the car? The driver, right? And you give him a tip at the end. So autonomous vehicle doesn't have this service. Also, when you are stressed out, you don't have much time. Who is usually like autonomous vehicle won't drive faster for you. Obviously, you don't want it to go crazy and be unsafe, but human driver that is experienced know how he can maybe shorten a few times. Maybe he's familiar very much with the road, so he can think about how is better for where to put you. It can help you with that. So you don't have it with autonomous vehicles. And lastly, I had another point. Let me remember one thing. Let's talk about safety. currently all the metrics of that Waymo, for example, published, showing that increasing in safety. But I would argue, me personally, would not feel that safe currently with stage 4 of autonomous um, of autonomous or robotaxis. Will you feel safe, or will you feel safer with a human driver? So, and let's take it more to the extreme. When you take one ride for robotaxis just to feel how it is, it's nice. But when a person need to use it for commute, meaning every day to work or daily, will you count on the safety of the autonomous vehicle rather than a human driver? I think um, that most people or a lot of people will still be too cautious with that and will prefer a human driver. Although um, autonomous vehicles are sexy and nice, and you don't need to talk with no one, you don't need to, it's only you. And yes, last reason why autonomous vehicles, robotaxis won't hurt Lyft business, the opposite, it will make it thrive, is partnerships. Lyft is going to partner with a lot of uh, EV companies, and what is the reasons that AV companies will want to partner with Lyft? So it already started happening. Lyft announced a partnership with Waymo recently, and this is one of the reasons that the stock jumped um, a lot to $20, is that operating an AV, it's hard, right? Because it's not just matching the demand to the car, but also someone need to maintain the car, someone need to clean it after the ride, so someone need to do it, and who is going to do it? So, and not all, like, does AV companies want to start handling this service? It's not their main business. They probably don't want to do it, and they don't have the expertise. So Lyft have a subsidiary company that doing just this. It's called FlexDrive. What it's doing, it have vehicle service maintenance, EV charging and infrastructure, um, insurance, obviously, um, but it has a lot of operation that exactly EV companies want. And this is exactly the reason that Waymo signed a partnership with Lyft because of the car management. So um, not only Waymo, obviously, we have here May Mobility, Mobileye, Baidu, which is all AV operations. Marubeni, all of the companies here are AV companies, and um, recent news that came today announced Lyft and Tensor robocars um, to make consumer-owned AVs available on Lyft platform. So um, obviously, you have a company that the expertise is to create or manufacture or own the autonomous vehicles. They don't want to mess around with maintaining the car and to operate it. They don't want to operate an application. So here comes Lyft. And what is good about it for Lyft is that the cost is much lower. They obviously need to pay some percentage point to the partner, but it's much, much lower than paying a human driver that have a minimum hourly um, amount. So it will benefit Lyft if we talked about margins. Imagine what it's going to do the margins. It's gonna explode. So I thinking for obviously we're gonna see more and more news like that coming, and more importantly, when the partnerships starting to become operative, like I think the Waymo partnerships and the Tensor, or both of them, are 6 months ahead or something like that. It's not in the very near term, but when they start to operate, the margin probably will go up. So yes, guys, these are the reasons why I'm thinking like the bear case is cannot hold water, and when you look at the valuation, is extremely low of Lyft with no reason. Fears are exaggerated, and whoever owns the stock will do 3 or 4x, in my opinion. Thank you for being with me. Please like the video if you like it, if you survived until here, and subscribe to the channel. Bye, guys.